Alright folks, time to get back after this Honda. It's the 2010, it's the Odyssey. It's got the 3.5. Fella wants to do the front brakes. It's got a broken spring on this side. And we're replacing the CV axle. So it's got a pretty nasty vibration. So we're going to start by just stripping her down. We're using the old impact driver. And Brooksy, of course, the brass hammer. We're going to take these screws out. We'll set them little guys to the side. We're going to have quite a little parts pile here. Before we get too deep, we'll take some of the WD right here. We're going to spritz down our sway bar link and let that start doing something. And a little bit here on our bolts here, bolts there. Here, bolt there, bolt everywhere. It's bolt, bolt. We will remove our axle nut. Find the Ugga gun. We have some OEM axles for it. So we'll take that off. I think I saw the axle move. Okay. Now because we're taking the spring out or the strut out, we're going to take the axle out a little different. Typically I would unhook the ball joint and swing this whole mess up and out just in case it had cams in it. But in this case, we're going to just tip the knuckle forward. You knucklehead. And then get the axle out that way. Let's see if we can't get our sway bar link off there. Now that we've got it penetrate 0.2 seconds. These usually come off pretty difficult. Unless you're from the south, then they come right out. So we're going to reach behind it. We're going to grab it with a pair of needle nose vice grips here. Be careful not to grab a hold of the rubber. If you do, it will ruin it. And you have to buy a new sway bar link. These ones are tight, so we're going to clamp onto it and try to give it the no mercy reversey. All right, we're going to go back in with it. Oops. Vice grips came off here. Not gripping anymore. Mother, there we go. And then what you want to do is you want to get enough penetrating oil on there so when that nut gets hot, it starts smoking. It provides a good visual effects here. So we'll give her a little bit more Panther Pete. Throw her in reverse. There she is. And you get the good smoke, you see. It's important. And like I say, make sure when you're clamping it, you're actually on the metal ring there. Now, if it has aftermarket sway bar links in it, it may have flats in there where you can just get a wrench on it. The OEMs, like what these probably have been replaced before because they're still quite tight. Or maybe they're original. You know, they have a spot where you have to clamp onto it. Ideally, you would stick looks like a 6mm hex in the middle, but come on. Forget about it. It ain't happening around here. Let's see what we have here. We got 14, I think. Is that 14? Negative Ghost Rider. That's a 12. So we're going to get a little extension. And a 12. We have to take our brake hose off because we need to take our strut out. Come on. Get up on there. Take that baby out. We'll stick our hose to the side. All right. And I guess now we're right here. Bring out the dog. Bring out Thor with the 22 mil. Doing it backwards, but it's got the power. I'm gonna take these nuts off. Now you gotta be careful if yours does not have the OEM bolts and has aftermarket cams. You don't want to do it this way, my guy. Trust me. There, now both of those are loose. We're gonna leave them right in there for the time being. And then what do we have? We need to take our caliper off. We'll grab a socket for that. You guys are still in optimal viewing position. So reach back here and get the upper bolt. Boom! And then the lower bolt, which you can't see. There, so a couple of them fellas. We'll see if we can't take a little pressure off this thing. Push our pistons in a little bit there. Makes them come off a wee bit easier. I'll set that fella right there, and we want to make sure that our piston can go back in where she belongs. We are putting new pads and rotors on it, customer request. So we'll push our pistons in. If pistons don't push in, you know, your brake hose may be collapsed or you got a bad caliper. And prior to pushing that in, you want to make darn tootin' you have enough room in your reservoir also. So we'll just leave that kind of dangling right there. Pull off our pads. Inside one's stuck a little bit. We're 19, probably 19. We'll crack these babies loose. Oh, they're a bro. Boy, they're snug. Get that off there. We'll grab a snug-a-dug gun now that we cracked them loose. The steering wheel's locked, so I can't rotate it to get Thor back there. We'll get that one off. Oh, dropped the nut. Or a bolt, rather. There it is. And then we'll take the bracket off and we'll set this to the side. We'll pull our rotor off. It's pretty clean as far as rust goes. He was having a little problems with this backing plate hitting here. We're going to tweak that in a little bit. It was just scraping, just so. A little rust buildup on the edge of the rotor. Now, what we have to do, we'll get a little pick here. We need to unhook our ABS wire right up in here. It just clips into the, maybe you can see it. Oh, what you call it? The old strap. Come on, fella. You make me get mean, ain't you? I can get you. That's a pop. I can get you. Now I gotta wiggle it here a little bit. Get that one out. Get both them bolts out right there. Stick them to the side. Okay. Now here's where we take the axle out. Theoretically, you wanna make sure you're not gonna pull your wire too tight. Tip her head here a little bit. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. What's she crusty? There's our wheel bearing, and here's our axle just kind of hanging there. Now, wire's not tight, everybody's happy. We need to take the axle itself out of the transmission. We're going to temporarily hang our little guy up there. He also wants a transmission oil change. I lost my pry bar. So I already have the transmission empty. It's been draining for a while. If you don't, you may get a little surprise. You leak a little bit. We shouldn't leak much. The other side was a little different than this side. So we're gonna rotate that right there. I wanna see if I can't reach in here with this little fella. Got you guys kind of right where I need to be, so I'm gonna try this the best I can. We're gonna give her a little pull. So, boop, boop, like that, just like you're pulling on a tooth. Except you don't use a bar that big when you're pulling on a tooth. You just get her snap loose there. Give her a little what's up, and there it is. Out she comes. Easy peasy. Now for the time being, we're gonna leave it with the axle out because we're gonna take the strut out, and I don't want a chance coming down and landing on the new boot or something like that. So we're gonna move our hooky down here. Leave that out of the way. What's our bearing feel? Okay, our bearing still feels good. So let's let the car down. The boot here is pretty well smoked. We don't have to do one of those. We'll just trim her off flat like that. Not 100% necessary. A lot of struts don't even have them. We're reusing the strut. They're not leaking. They're not bouncy. So let's let her down. Let's take the strut out. Honda's really nice because they give us access holes, so you don't have to tear the whole stinking cowl apart like some other companies, which is really handy. You're really handy, Honda. I believe we're going to be using a 14. Yes, sir, 14. We'll take that one off, but we'll spin that one back on a few threads. Oh, gonna play tough guy, huh? Oh. Wow. What a bunch of jerks. Let's see if we can park the wipers up on the window. Much better. I am losing over here. Had the exhaust pointing the wrong way, so that nut's off. Let's find our plastic cap I just sent into no man's land. Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun getting that one. Let's get the claw. Yes, ma'am. What's up, Mrs. Tow truck's here. What? The tow truck just pulled in. There's that. Let's go see what the tow truck guy needs. I used to see this junker they're dropping off. Just came from the dealer. I don't want them to leave it here. They smoked the inside of this car. They have it ripped to shreds. Apparently the guy drove it to the dealer and it left on a tow truck. It got ripped in a million pieces out there. So we'll have to figure out what the story is on that, I guess. So this bolt we're taking out all the way. We got our front one in part of the way. Nuts, rather. Sure, here, make it a little easier. Now you always want to leave the one in, otherwise you'll drop right on the ground there. Right, let me go see what the tow truck guy wants now. There's that one. And then we're going to reach under here. We're going to hang on to the strut with one hand. Find the bolt there. There it is. Hang on through with you. One hand will take this one off all the way. Looks like it's off all the way. And then just kind of slip her out the side. And there you have it. There's your strut. Put a little tension on this spring. Now if this part you're not familiar with, don't do it. Take it to a shop or a machine shop. Just have them. Most of the places will swap over the spring for you for a little bit of a labor charge, you know. This spring is broken on the bottom. What do we got here? What's this thing? A 9mm? 9mm or 6mm. Right. Stick that little guy on there. We're reusing these, so we don't want to destroy them. Get her pinned right here just against the... Guy's got her going the wrong way here. Baby. See if I can't get her to crack loose. Yes. Yes, ma'am. What's up, Mrs. O?
The lady with the journey is here.
I haven't touched it yet. Oh. The tire is here.
Oh.
Yeah. The tire is here. I'm gonna try to get it on before the end of the day. Josh has time when he's done with this, I'll have him do it. If Josh has time when he's done with this car, I'll have him do it. I do have the tire. No, it won't be any road hazard. No, it's slide straight through the sidewall. There, we want to hang on to a strut. We don't want it to fall. All right. That baby out of the way. Baby out of the way. That little guy off will save our strut. Get the bellow off here. Bellow. It's all jammed up down here anyways. Left of it. There's what's left of our spring. Set that off to the side. We'll decompress because we need to swap our bearing and top plate over to a new spring. So we'll just clean off our strut bearing here. Don't wipe the dirt off it. Replace them if yours are cracked or stiff. They don't turn anymore. Kind of a slip plate here on the Hondas. Some of them run actual bearings like the Subarus. I'll wipe the dirt and cut off our top plate here. All this stuff looks like it's in pretty good shape. Yeah, the customer got us new springs, the lower spring insulator, and the upper bump stop. So the bump stop, we're just going to pop out of there. They just slip down and in. I mean, these ones look pretty good still. But he brought us new ones. So we're just gonna slip them in there. Like I say, the bellows, bottom of it's torn, so not much you can do about it. Make sure that's all good. Make sure you put your plate on the right way. Put it on the wrong way, it'll just break it. Put it on upside down, you know what I'm saying? Should be pretty obvious what way it goes. And our top plate here. It does say underneath the front. I like to put a little paint mark on the top of the one that goes on the inside, which the front will still line up with the front, but I think they're offset. They only go one way anyway, so it's not super important. However, if they don't go just one way, it would be important. I put the rubber insulator on the bottom of our spring already. Now the spring direction is important. It has paint marks on it, lining up like your old one. In this case, yellow one on the top. And if you're buying the springs, OEM, it will have the paint marks on them. A lot of the aftermarkets just have a white mark. And I think the white mark goes up. They usually come with a sheet of paper that tells you. All right, so that's all back together there. New insulators on the bottom. Let's stick it together. This is the scary part. You take shelter behind this 1.5 inch wide pipe here, just in case it all breaks loose on you. Hopefully it doesn't. I haven't lost one yet. But if you have cat-like reflexes, you're going to want to make sure you're employing them at this point. All right, I think we might be close. Not a lot of junk in the bottom of our strut here. We'll come up through. Oh, dropped it. No. You gotta kind of get her guided up in the bump stop there. There she goes. And look up top where it comes through. Boom. Get your nut on there real quick. It's like putting the pin back in the grenade. Although you can't really do that either. So, anyhow, let's see. Here's a guy who just took it right back off. Make sure you switch your ratchet. Habit. I looked, it said on, but off is the new on. There we go. Now we're going the right direction. Now before we snug that down too much, I want to get my Allen socket back there. We need to line up the bottom of the strut here. I'll push it down a little more. See this keyway right here? It's got this notch on the insulator. Well, it goes with a notch in the back of the strut. Get that baby lined up. And then I'm going to hold it and I'm going to start taking off some pressure. Looks good. It's going to want to slip on me because the way I had the spring hooked up, but it ain't going nowhere. It's going to get kind of jammed in here. I'm going to have to rotate it a little bit. So I wanted to get that in there. Oh, easy fella, easy. We're going to stick it back in here for a second. There we go. Now we'll put a little tension on it. Take some pressure back off it here. Now we got re-squared in our machine. Now we can snug it up without fear of it flipping out on us. Torque that factory spec, of course. Got all your stuff back. And I'll go stick that back in the car. And then whatever system you use to find out who goes where, probably should have told you before you took it out or after you take it out, mark it in alignment so you know what goes where. But I'm pretty sure these are offset to where it only goes one way. We got our socket and extension. We're going to need a little hanky. Put a little Kleenex on there, or paper towel. That'll hold your nut so when we go, back down through there, we'll get it. So I'm gonna reach under. Now I marked my plate so I know which way mine goes. Doesn't mean I'm gonna get it in the first try. I'm gonna hold it with one hand there. Well, let's see. I can't see crap in here. We'll keep guessing. Yes, ma'am. And we'll drop this in. Hopefully we're on the stud. We're on something, I'll tell you that. Yep, we must have gotten it. Might have enough napkin to hold this one. We'll offset it a little bit. There's that one. Drop these little fellas down in there. There she is. Give them a number one. Just enough to pour up through. There's that, and then we'll get our last one in. And of course, torque on the factory specs, you know me. That piece of hanky. And that one goes right down there. That one we have to run all the way by hand. That one's all the way by hand. Let's grab our torque wrench here. Click. There's one. There's another. There's our third one, so that's good. 51 foot-pounds on those little fellas. And then we gotta click these back in. What a great idea. Good job. Everybody else pay attention. Now we need to slip our axle back in there. Gonna grab some of the DW1. Put it on a Q-tip. Spin it around the seal here. I'll get a little extra here on the other part of the Q-tip. Just want to make sure our seal is lubricated. Good. Usually train fluid's spewing out of it there when you pull the axle. So like I say, in our case, I already drained it. I wanted to drain and refill a couple times, so I already did it once. Drove the vehicle and got her draining the second time. So now don't damage your seal. Get her lined up where you want her. Give her one of those. Little what's up. And if all's right in the world, it'll slip right in there for you. We're gonna take a little never sneeze. We're gonna put it inside the splines of our hub here. These don't have a tendency to seize, but we like to make sure it's some anti-seizure paste. Make sure that there's not a lot of junk stuck to your magnet. And if there isn't, we will line this up very gingerly. Slip that baby in. Slip on the axle nut. Lift a couple threads. Bring it around. Now watch your boot. Don't rip your boot now. Turn this a little bit. Get one bolt in. Once you get one bolt in, the other one's easy. Clip your ABS sensor back in. Put on both of these nuts. Put your sway bar link back in there. Oh, where'd you go, fella? There you go. Put that back in there. Put on that nut. We're gonna have to get this little whack down there with the Ugga Dugga gun. The threads are a little crusty. We'll give these two a Snugga Dugga. Ooh, that's close. Oh, Thor, man. Thor door not. Sorry. Big IQ. We'll finish these guys off with the proper torque of 1/16, I think it said. Oh, there's that one. Caliper's kind of in our way there. These might have to come out anyways when we do the wheel alignment to replace it with a cam bolt. There's that. They're all snugged up. Let's click back on this fella. Get a hold of it good. Mother lover, you'd think this guy would change that lock ring on this impact. Okay, I'm gonna back her back off here. Just very lightly, a number one Snugga Dug on this. Alright, there she is. She's almost tight. There she is, all the way, folks. We're going all the way. Now, even though the sub face is clean before we put the rotor on, you see these little spots right here? You just want to at least get those two little spots off. That's where you can put the forcing screw through the rotor. But the rest of it's clean, so we're not too worried about any of that. We'll put a little spritz of the film on there. Grab a couple of these screws. You want to put that on the proper way. Some Centrix brake rotors from the Rock Auto. Customer supplied. I think the one parts store here in Bath, Fast Freddy's, I think he carries them. It's really called Fred Roberts, but I call it Fast Freddy's. We'll put these screws on. Very lightly. And if they're missing, forget about it. They're not super necessary. Naturally, you got the brake clean. These have oil all over them. So we're going to spray it on a clean rag. Wipe off the outer surface. Shiny. Flip the rag around. Redouche it. Grab something to turn this little guy with. There. Ew. Ew! That should keep us from getting contaminated. blasted them off with the sand, and then wire wheeled them on Roger. So all the rust is gone. And prior to doing that, I also pulled out the pins because they get really rusty here at the top, okay? Where's my napkin? There, we can use the napkin. There you go. And you just wipe off the old grease. Get all the crap off the top because that's what seals it on the boot. Okay? And they weren't seized up or rusty or anything, just some old grease in there. So we'll stick a little bit of new lube on there, some silicone grease. Not too much, meow. Slowly work it in, there we go. Now it's clicked in. Pull this one back out. Now if the boots and stuff are ripped, obviously they need to be replaced. Same thing on this one, you know, make sure the groove is all cleaned out. Wipe a little silicone grease on that fella. Keep them all slimy. There's that. This is what we use, super lube, because it's super and lubing. Got a brush, where's our other stuff? Here it is. Some Ceramic Ultra super high temperature. 3,000 degrees. You can get your brakes with this stuff. Turn them into molten lava. The grease will still be working. Liquid hot magma. So we're gonna put a little bit on here. If you have time, and you feel so inclined to do so, paint these little fellas. Whoa, dude. You need to calm down. Get that baby right there. We lube them up, not because it's a slipping point, but we lube them up to try to combat rust. So we try to get her worked right in every little nook and cranny in there. We have brand new hardware. We'll stick them right there. Click them up in. Yeah, they're in all the way. Don't lose that. You're in that drag clip. Don't be a drag, man. There's that on the inside, leading edge of the pad, or leading edge of the rotor. We will have our squeaker. So there's that. We'll make sure they're in there. They feel good. Flip her around. Get this one to start also. Feel like I'm gonna send this one on the floor. Nope, there we go. They should move nice and easy. These are Akibono pads. Customer supplied. They seem to fit okay. Make sure they slide nice and easy with minimal force. You should be able to just wiggle her back and forth. I don't want to keep flicking it out here. There we go. Let's go stick this on the car. Couple bolts. Can't see back there because you guys are right in the way. So we're going to try to do this one by feel. I guess I could look in the viewfinder. It's not very helpful. Oh, first try. There's another one up here. Feel for it. Come on, man, you got 3 kids. There we go. Let's see here. 101 FTLBS, as it says. So we'll pull on that a little bit. Service data didn't say anything about lock plates or much of anything really on the old Honda. There's that. I got them at 101 or thereabouts. 108.4. Wow. Put this little fella down where we can get to it. She's pretty clean in there. We're gonna lube up the ears here. There's a bunch of rust and crap back here. You need to get it out. Trust me when I tell you that. And we're going to put a little bit on the piston face. Try not to make a big old mess. Any metal to metal contacts, we want to try to get this on there to eliminate squeakage. These pads do have shims on them. Okay, so we got a little lube on the piston face. You can lube the back side of the pad too, it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna check up on you. Now, I'll show you a little trick Nemo taught me. Take a bolt, okay? We're gonna stick her in there. And then we're gonna stick her in the top pin. You don't want to slip her down on yet though. Just get her up in that top pin. Because I need to maintain holding it while getting these anti-drag clips. Stick one in there, stick one in here. Now if your brake pads are super loose, they're gonna go flying. We're gonna bring her down here a little bit. We're gonna stick our little hand right there. It's a pretty clutch move we're doing. Hold your pads so they don't go flinging out. Get in there, pin, and then bring her around town like that. You'll see. You'll see when you're doing it. You might not have been able to see anything right there at that moment. But when you're doing it and you're trying to get that clip on and them pads hit the floor like the 13th time, A, have somebody help you, or B, throw the clip away. Or C, I guess just do it like we did it. The other thing you can do too is get a pair of C-clamp vice grips, clamp them on your pads way down here at the bottom, put your clips on, start to bring your caliper around. And as soon as your caliper is on a little bit of it, it ain't going nowhere. Okay, let's snug them up. Make sure you don't have any curly Q in your brake hose there. Oh, we're just spinning that pin. Isn't that lovely? You could get a wrench, but look what we have right handy. We don't want to, they're only like 16 foot-pounds. They're barely tight. So we'll just clip onto it with that. What a hack, huh? What a hack. Where'd this guy go? School hackery. Good enough, baby. Hope you ate your Wheaties today. 240 some odd foot-pounds on this little guy. Oh, we're gonna need another bite on that. And there she is, 248.7. 242, I think is what it's supposed to be. Line her up. Give her a whack. And I guess last but not least, the brake hose bolt. Line that fella up. At 16 foot-pounds. Or a very light snug-a-dugga, or a quick hugga-dugga, like a, yep, hold like this. That's 16 foot-pounds right there, guaranteed. Let's see how close we were. Let's see if it moves. Nope, it didn't move. It's at least 16 foot-pounds. Probably 19 is probably where it's at. And everything's the same over here. Same process. You know, you got the spring, the link, the brake hose, the rotors. Everything's the same, folks. The only thing that is different is the axle. Okay, the axle has a male half or a female half on that side. You'll understand here in a minute. So this is off the springs in the previous video, springs in this video. This is off the driver's side. Got the male half. The passenger side got the female half. You know what I'm saying? Boy, girl, you get it? And so to get this one off, just a long brass punch, give her a smackaroo, and it pops out and goes back in the same fashion as this one did, quite easily. In and out, baby. We're done. So we'll leave it at that, folks. I gotta fill up strength. I got a bunch of other stuff the guy wants done to it too, so I gotta keep cranking. And maybe I'll show you something else. We'll go for a test. So I gotta fix the window. We gotta put a belt on it. All kinds of crap, some service stuff. So I'm gonna leave the wheels off it here. I've gotta take and power bleed out all the brake fluid. It looks like the bleeders will come loose on this guy. Thankfully, hopefully, we'll see. And I'll see you in that comment section. Questions, comments, the Insta, the Facebook. You guys know where to find us. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.